So once again, I'm having to record myself in the car. I still don't have all of the correct setup, but yesterday you guys saw like how when I got in the car, they didn't want me to go to the library and fill out some stuff that I had to fill out, and a few other things. But anyways, you saw like how my heart was made to race and stuff like that. Well, like I said, this is over a particular person. So anytime I get dressed up and I'm gonna like go take a picture, whatever like that, to kind of help bring awareness to this situation, that's when this woman likes to attack me the most. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with microwave oven weaponry, energy weapons, but they can light your behind up in your car. And it's very dangerous because you can literally use the glass from your window and the sunlight, and if you got a droid, you can direct it. You can literally take somebody's eyes out. You can put all kinds of pressure on their eye. I'm not going to go into too much detail, obviously, on how you build it, but just so you guys know, even from your phone has crystals inside of it. But anyways, so the reason why they're attacking me now, like they do a lot of, sometimes now they do the electricity still, but now it's more so like the head implosion thing, where it feels like they're just putting a bunch of pressure on your eyeballs, and then also a bunch of pressure on your head and your forehead. Well, basically yesterday they like raised my heart rate or whatever like that. Like I said, there's a lot of jealousy over one particular person. And then today, because they did that, and like I said, it's not a secret, I'm going to the mall, and I was gonna go take a couple of pictures or whatever like that. And when I looked at my YouTube, I saw that you know who I think it's coming out tomorrow, but just like after I made that post, you know, he's making a video talking about the use of these weapons in Havana syndrome and stuff like that, because a lot of people aren't educated on it. Well, anyways, once again, there's jealousy because it's gonna bring all the attention to him. All the little TIs are gonna watch this video. This is the worst stuff I've ever been through. And another thing I was gonna talk about today too, when I made my video or whatever, was about Tantra. I know a lot of you guys most Americans aren't really familiar with Tantra, but this is something that is widely practiced outside of the United States. And we're taught that you can have like a touchless orgasm. So you can have an orgasm just by energy. Sorry, Sage painted my nails and my hands. That we can have an orgasm wirelessly, basically, right? And we get put in like this orgasmic bliss and all of this stuff. Well, that's something that if you go to Mitchell and Kathy Gibson's website, they kind of talk about, like mastering the sexual arts or whatever. It's basically a scam, you guys. I can only speak for Mitchell and Kathy Gibson and probably anybody else who has like copied off of his work. But basically all it is what's happening to us when we say we're getting electronically raped. So they use like droids, and they use like there's actually a setting, and I'll be posting that another day. But there's a setting that they can do, and there's like a certain area of the brain they can aim these beams at or whatever, of your brain, and then also of your genitals, and force you to have an orgasm. And literally, guys, they can leave us like that all freaking night. It's the most disgusting feeling I've ever had in my entire life. What I think of it is, I always call it like the nana sensor. So I'm like, this is for a woman that doesn't have any more sensories between her legs, that needs like extra sensory help or something like that. I was like, obviously this bitch has no sensory between her legs. Like literally, I just got like a flick of pressure to my head. But obviously, like, she has no sensory between her legs. So they think it's funny to come and like hypersense us, and you know, and then forcing us to have orgasms, and people watching us have orgasms, they live stream it, and then other people get to watch. It's really disgusting. So they didn't want me blasting that. And then another thing too is, a lot of people, like, you'll see them doing like table work, and when they're doing table work, you'll see like somebody looking like they're having an orgasm from their body or their legs or something like that. They feel like, oh my God, this is like such a big pleasure sensor. You guys, it's a lot of static electricity, okay? Like if I was sitting there taking your vitals while you were having that done, your stuff would be all over the place. Your heart would be racing all over the place. Your brain would be firing all kinds of crazy ways, because it's not, what they're using is a static electricity from those droids. So it's literally, it's not good for your guys' body. You guys really shouldn't be freaking doing it. And I don't know how many of you guys do it and how often you guys do it, but I'm pretty sure once that electricity and once those droids and shit get off of you, after you guys are done having these wireless orgasms all day, I don't know if you guys can have sex the regular way. Not only that, there's so much radiation that's associated to that electricity and that static electricity. That's all radiation to your body. Do you guys understand me? It's a bunch of radiation. I'm sure that's why a lot in this metaphysical community, I hear a lot of fibroids. I hear a lot of fibroids. I hear a lot of endometriosis. I hear you guys talking about things that I don't really hear anybody going to the actual doctor about. You guys are sitting here doing witchcraft and doing another spell. It's all radiation. This is all harmful to your guys' body. You guys actually really need to see a doctor. You guys need a pelvic floor exam. You guys need your brain scanned. You guys actually need to be on remote neural monitoring, just like how I say I need to be. This is like completely disgusting. It's electronic torture. And basically, so that's why they microwave oven me a lot in the car. I need to get one of those little sensors, because you can actually sometimes hear the pop, pop, pop going around my car. Like it's not a secret. And even these speakers or whatever like that, they're able to like, use them and amplify the sound. So it feels like your head is imploding, and then on the seats, you'll actually feel like a vibration really coming from in between my legs, because they're like using one of these droids or whatever like that to kind of like add pressure and stuff like that. Sometimes they even make it super freaking hot. So that's basically what this is, and they're using it against me. I need to get like better cameras and thermal imaging cameras in here. My head, they bang in my head a lot. So like, I don't know what is Kathy Gibson's infatuation is with rap music, but I know this sounds ghetto or whatever, but whenever I play like a rapper, they freaking always try to go with the beat. So they'll be like freaking imploding my head or electrocuting my vagina, all with the beat. And they love to like electrocute your feet. There's a bunch of electricity down here by your guys' feet when you drive. I'm eventually gonna find out a way to like to refract it and like show you guys, like there it goes sparking up, there it goes sparking up. But in the beginning, I didn't know what none of this was called. I didn't know what any of it was. I thought it was magic. It's not. I was like, after I did my research and I found out about these stupid energy weapons and these microwave weapons, I was like, this was really, really, really pathetic. And another really pathetic thing is with his whole entire work, so even his meditation beats, so that's another big beef that's going on right now. You guys know those are actually like really harmful to your brain. They cause like deep brain stimulation. There's no guardrails on it. And then they send you these electric shocks through the droid, so it's like he's giving you guys remote electric shock therapy to your brain. It's really, really, they're both really disgusting beings. And another thing they can do to us is with these droids, they can increase, like if you have your air up, they can increase the pressure of your AC so that it feels like you're getting hit with the freaking F4 tornado. They can like turn the sensor that make your brain like hypersensitive. It's very, very, very disgusting. But you will see that Havana syndrome and targeted individuals basically are the same thing. And then when you go around and you kind of assess their exterior field for like radio signals, because radio fields are what are used with droids, you will actually be able to detect a radio field, one specific radio field, maybe even more than one, that are following them around everywhere that they go. I don't have the thing yet, but you can actually pick those up. And one of the big giveaways is when it's an infrasonic frequency, so one that's like below the normal hearing level, and then one that's above the hearing level. Those two are like the frequencies that they like to use for the droids because they're not as easily detected, but you can obviously detect it. I've done some of my research, and once you detect that radio field, you can actually put it on a software, and on your computer you can decode it so people can hear what they're saying, or hear if they're making a noise or ringing your ears or making that beep 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 beep, which is another dead giveaway for all the doctors and neurologists that have missed this. There's no brain sound. There's no brain sound that goes off in your brain and sounds like a beep 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 beep. That's a fucking droid, okay? That's some sort of computer. That's something like that. I was like, if your patients come in and say they're hearing a beep 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 beep, it's probably because somebody's aiming something at their head or whatever. I don't know. But in my case, they do it as to like warn, to be like beep beep beep. I've been threatened in ways you guys can't even believe. This couple, this is all that they spend their life doing. So basically, that's all that a target is, you guys. They're target practice for these stupid little beings and settings that they like to come in and beam at us. Think about it, a target. So if you have a droid and you're like flying around your droid and you see some girl or some guy and you're like, huh, let me go spy on them or follow them home or whatever like that. That's basically like, hey, you just made yourself a new little target. And you could be like, hey, let me go show my friends this cute guy that I saw or whatever. Not trying to sound like a creep or anything, but like this cute guy that I saw or whatever like that. And I was like, let's watch him walk home every day. Then I got like 3 or 4 friends that now it's a gang stalking, because now every time that guy goes and walks home, me and my girlfriends are at home with my droid following him around. So then you got a little gang and you're gang stalking. So that's basically a target, because that guy would be a target. So basically what this organization does is they just make targets for their community. They just follow, everybody gets followed around with droids. And that you just become target practice for them to come and like shoot you, to force you to have an orgasm. They can force you to be paralyzed. There's literally one thing that they can do to be right in the middle of our heads, and it literally locks our whole body and paralyzes us right on the floor. The other day, it was so horrific. I was laying down in the bed, and they did something to like tighten my anus. It felt like my anus and my pelvis, I got locked down, and they were just gonna start jamming a fucking needle hard as fuck in my asshole. Excuse my language, but I was like, it was horrific. Like right now, she just gave me a beat to my ear. I know, like I said, and eventually this is going to be able to be seen. I was like, once it's under the correct lighting and the correct camera or whatever like that, it's gonna show. But another day in the life of having to freaking record myself. I've never been like this in my entire life. I am very grateful for the guys that I do watch. They're aware that I'm a target, and I would never set them up. They wanted me to set some of these guys up, and I was like, I would never in a million years set any of these men up. I am very grateful. I'm gonna tell the truth about everything. I know if it wasn't for some of you guys, I would be dead. Like, that's how serious this is. I was like, because other people have to watch what this woman does. I've got a few emails that miraculously disappeared about how they're like, hey, this woman and this man caused all these accidental deaths in my family. We were electrocuted. My wife ended up dying. All kinds of horrific stuff. They have no sympathy. A lot of you guys who are mentally ill or who are like drug addicts and stuff, you guys become very, very easy targets for people like Mitchell and Kathy Gibson and their group, because nobody's going to believe what you guys are saying. So like, if I have these droids and you're like out there overdosing, or maybe you're out there high, I can come light your asshole up, and if you say you go to the hospital and say, oh, my butt hurts, I feel like I got shot in the ass or something, they're just going to think you're cuckoo or crazy. Or if you're a girl, which is the one thing that they love to do is choke. And I mean, and it's not a choke like, I don't know, you know, I've honestly never been choked, but it's like literally they'll come and they can put, it's a hurt, so it's a certain pressure that they shoot out from these droids, and when it hits our throat, it occludes the vagus nerve, you guys, and it's very quick. I literally could probably figure out the dang program numbers my goddamn self and put it on a droid, and probably demonstrate with a little dummy thing and show you guys. Do you see how I just freaking shot all this pressure from my droid right at that dang dummy, and you literally go through the neck? Well, they can do that to occlude our throats. It's been done to me a few times where you wake up, or like you can be just like sitting here and boom, in a second you're on that floor faster than you can even freaking blink, totally out of breath, like I mean, your throat feels like it's like totally occluded. And that's the type of stuff that she does, but they use it. So this is so disgusting. Like I say, they force us to have orgasms, and when they're forcing us to have orgasms, stuff like that, those are the type of wicked BDSM, satanic, pedophilic shit that they also add to that to make it be like this disgusting, horrific rape. And that's like some of the stuff that some of these women go through, and a lot of them are never tested. Nobody ever puts a brain monitor on them. Nobody ever puts like electrodes on their legs to see if they're actually getting raped and electrocuted. Nobody ever checks them correctly. This has been the saddest thing that I've ever had to find out, and it, probably because I had to personally go through it. I've gotten so many people demonetized on the internet. I feel terrible. There's more targets out here that are actually rich people, celebrities, than you guys can probably ever even freaking think. it's like, this is how we get controlled or whatever. And it's really, 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 really sad. I know they all wanted to stop. Like right now, she's increasing the pressure on my head as I go. But I'm aware I have to keep recording myself. Otherwise, if this is, you know, if something does actually happen to me, then you guys will be able to replay these and be like, hey, put it under infrared light, put it under x-ray vision, put it under gamma ray vision, put it, like, you got to change the lens. I just don't have thermal cameras, all of that stuff. You're going to actually see stuff that happens. One other thing I wanted to talk to people about too is, so yesterday they took my lungs. This is something else that they're able to do. So they raised my heart rate really high or whatever like that. They'll have me like the 160s. Those are things like, when my heart is racing that fast, sometimes I can barely even breathe. You can't really even get up. You're super lightheaded. But with the lung thing, they can also shut our lungs down, and it's like they get deoxygenated. But at the end of the day, I can feel when they do that, I'm like, oh, there's actually like a different surface tension of pressure on me. So I'm like, if I was laying on a hospital bed and they came and they did that, I'm almost positive that the weight would change. I'm like, all of a sudden you would get like a pound of weight increase, and then you see like my oxygen levels just drop down. But then I'm like wide awake, and then our lungs just stop, but we have like no mucus, no nothing. And then we're just like back to normal right away, because they just come and they like remove it, or remove that setting with the droid. So that's their miracle work, by the way. Like how my heart just was racing the other day, and then it'd be like, oh, you got your miracle, and then they just stop it, and they're like, oh my God, a miracle happened. No, that was just them turning off the settings. There's no miracle worker. They cause all of this crazy, stuff, and then basically turn the setting. You're like, stop beaming it at you and be like, oh, we're a miracle worker. No, actually they were the cause and effect, and then they go, and that's how they keep their business running and stuff like that. There was also kind of a push for me to set people up in this community. So when we say that we're getting a page or whatever like that, I don't know if you guys know what this is. All it is directed sound. So if you guys kind of do some research or whatever like that, you look at like all these cool new museums that are starting to open up. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be allowing people to have their own individual immersive experience when you guys go in. So basically, you won't need any headphones or anything like that. You can walk into the museum and you're going to be hearing the music play, seeing the scenes play, and then your kid will be hearing something else. Well, what they're really doing is they're directing sound specifically from their speakers and right to your bone. So it's bone conduction technology. And if you were to go and tell the doctor that you walked into the museum and you were hearing something that your daughter wasn't hearing, they would say, well, you're hearing voices, maybe you're schizophrenic. Well, no, you're not really schizophrenic. You were at a museum that was using directed sound, and basically you were having your own immersive experience. So what Mitchell and Kathy do with these droids is they use pressure and sound, so you can put them together and you can direct the sound and pressure. I can literally show you guys how to do this. I Googled it, and I can actually DIY it and start beaming sounds right at your guys' heads. So that's all that they do, is they use pressure and sound. That's why I'll kind of go over the different types of like ear exams that you guys need, but all this is directed sound. And then they come and they tell me something, and then they go off. But you can really, if I had the right stuff on, you would really see like my bone actually light up. You would see my eardrum either jiggle or move, and you would actually see a increase in pressure. Usually, like I said, it's below the normal hearing and above the normal hearing, but it's a sound. And what it also does is for people who get it really harshly, like they turn my pressure down some, it causes a heart rate variability. So when they're hearing the sound or whatever like that, when they get pinged by that droid, their heart rate drops. Not necessarily the cardiac strip, it's more so the heart rate variability. And then you'll notice their eardrum will shake, or they'll have like the pressure on their ear. And you can be like, did you just hear something? We're like, yep, we sure did. And if you got the little radio field analyzer thing, you can literally catch the radio field on your computer or whatever like that to dissect the sound, and you will literally be able to decode the freaking messages that we get. That's what this really is. So that's why they say we need to be in like military Faraday cages. If you guys really pay attention, you guys will see Elon Musk literally is making cages for his cars because there's so much stuff that can be done to them, literally. And then not only that, they're making them for people's houses now, to cover up people's houses. That's how important these Faraday cages are. And that's why everybody needs to be like well aware of like this harassment of electronic torture and droids, and how they can be used for harm, how they can follow us around, how they've been abusing people using this directed sound. And then also forcing the orgasms. That's like the worst thing ever. So really, like, once I get like a really good brain monitor on, I can't wait to show everybody like the different things that happen. So one thing that's been happening now is my senses and hearing has been amplified. So even with me talking, it feels like it's really, really, really loud. Like if you're yelling or something like that. I don't know. It just, my ears feel really sensitive. So it's just like they can hypersensitivize. They can do all kinds of things. And I'm like, she does that. Like, honestly, I haven't really been hearing her so much. All I ever hear is jealousy, jealousy. Billy Carson. Oh my God, you guys. I'm well aware this man has been like a #1 charter for the last 2 years, and they've been suppressing it. He's been demonetized over all this stuff. I feel terrible. I feel so terrible. I'm like, I'm the worst student ever. Even 19 keys, I feel terrible. Mike Rashad, I'm so sorry. Earn your leisure. Rashad, I'm so sorry. Yo, my God. I didn't even know. I thought this was magic. I was like, everybody's well aware this is microwave weapons, droids, and all kinds of nonsense that they're using these days. But yeah, so that was just me driving. I'm here at the mall. You guys, I'm gonna have to tell you why I love Selena Gomez so flippin' much. And there's actually a lot of celebrities now. I'm like, oh my God, I always know when their page is getting demonetized or when they're kind of giving hints. You guys, it's been quite the journey. It's been quite the journey. And I do appreciate learning about all of you targeted individuals. You guys have given me a lot of hope when I'm telling you I literally was down to nothing. No hope at all. Like I said, I have not had really any support. There's been disgusting evil plots that, to take my kid, losing work, losing my job. Oh, and I'll get to that another day too, like how they make us lose our job. Like they'll be doing the head implosions or ringing our ears or electrocuting our eardrums and stuff like that while we're working and trying to focus, so that we can't really focus and we're like basically being crippled. And that's the way that they keep us sex trafficked. So basically, if I'm not going to be able to work or anything like that, then they're like, okay, well, now we're keeping you home. And then people get like annoyed or whatever by what we're saying, and they don't put the monitors on us. Like, we can go to the doctor a million times and they don't want to put a monitor on us. I was like, can you just send us home so we can show you what's happening? And I can tell it takes a lot for people, like, and then you have to think a lot of this gear is expensive. So if they don't get to go home with a monitor to kind of prove like, hey, I'm being electrocuted, I'm being shocked, look at my genitals and stuff like that, and my head is being imploded in, things like that, then it makes it very easy for them to keep us in this circle of this sex trafficking where they just come and they like, basically their job is to like get us secluded from everybody. Like either everybody just be like, hey, you're lying or you're crazy, and then like to get us alone. And that way they can just like they'll just literally fry us to death. From what I've been told is they've made a couple of people actually go chicken brain from electrocuting their brain so heavily. They're murderers. These are probably the most disgusting people I've ever heard of in my entire life. And I'll get into why I actually was, there's a lot of government what do you call, like, government, the government had it planned that I would be with this man. Or he went and did it. I don't freaking know. But it was a hell no, you guys. When I say it was a hell to the motherfucking no, it was a hell no. But because I said no, then they were like, okay, well, now we're just going to start beating the shit out of you. And we're going to start just raping you anyways. And we're going to start electrocuting you and like imploding your head. They do all kinds of shit. I'm like, what the hell? I would never have the heart. I would never have the heart to do this to anybody. Not even one little zap to somebody. That's why everybody needs to be well aware, because they can start targeting your kids very young. They can start targeting your kids very young, and they can get them kind of used to feeling this electricity and start zapping them in inappropriate places or doing that, and then keep it going until they get older, and then they're like fully controlled. And oh my God, that's why I was like, hey, people need to be well aware of what is going on with this stuff. I do have a lot of hope. I do believe like there's going to be Faraday cages made. I don't think like some of the press, I don't really think they would go for it. Because I'm like, as soon as they make this country safe or whatever like that, then it's just going to make us another top, no, we don't have microwave ovens here or whatever like that. So then everybody wants to come to America. But I really want them gone everywhere, you guys. They use them overseas so much. I think about all these kids at the border that are being abused with it. I think about all these kids out in the jungle. Like I said, a lot of his students go to Mexico and they go to the jungles out there and they bring this shit with them and they start doing all kinds of stuff to sex traffic those kids young. Oh my God, you guys don't even, oh, I get so livid. The kids on the reservation, kids in Africa, just everywhere by these dang pyramids can be getting abused because you can make a bunch of energy weapons. You know, the pyramids emit, they're an energy center, an energy source. So yeah, it's a lot. So that's why I have fought so hard, and I'm going to continue to fight, and I'm going to continue to be honest. I'm going to continue to share my story. I do appreciate everybody that's visiting my page. I made some very big promises to be a revolutionary. So I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to make inventions and check for it instead. I was such a little smart ass, you guys. I was like, I will literally decode every star in the sky. This mofo is not a master. His stars from his dang packet and his books are freaking satellites. They are satellites. And when you guys, I've never studied the star system or anything like that. I was devastated when I found out you can literally kill somebody with a dang star. They are an energy weapon. They are an energy weapon. They're nuclear weaponry. I was like, why is every star a circle? You guys got all these radio fields out there in space that are like totally toxic to the body, and like, you know, with all these radio fields that are out there swarming around space. I feel like that may be what's actually causing the Earth to not be like on its axis correctly, you know, like has that variant, or when it's on the tilt because it's being pulled. Oh my God, I'm not, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I even guessing all of this? It's hypothesis, but I was like, I got a couple of bones to pick with some of those astrophysicists from Harvard. The theory of relativity. I was like, why are we relative to anybody? All kinds of stuff. And I dug through all of that type of stuff just to discredit his butt, and I sure did. I was like, then I found out that the star wasn't even a star. You guys, I found out it was a satellite. I'm like, oh my God. Not only that, a lot of people bought satellites to make them look like they were their stars. I was like, you guys were going to be really, really messed up trying to fool your kids to think that was your star you guys made out there in space. Oh gosh, then I learned about electricity, you guys. Oh, that mess. That's a whole nother time for a whole other day. It's so deadly. All kinds of stuff. But anyways, I'm here. Thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned to that episode that's coming out on Billy Carson's show about microwave weaponry and mind control. I was like, what a coincidence he just made it after I made that post. I was like, do you guys really see, like, if I was to wear this stuff all day, you guys are going to see some crazy stuff. And even to my rectum, you guys, I feel like I'm like, do I need to have like one of my girlfriends looking at my behind all day so you guys can see it moving around and getting all hot? And I'm like, oh God. I was like, at that point, I might as well just live stream it and put it on OnlyFans or something like that, since they're not letting me work. And all of ESPN has been up in my house with their droids. Yeah, this has been quite the journey, you guys. They try to make it sound like I was going to be some cool high-end like prostitute that these guys could come do a virtual orgasm on. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I didn't participate at all. I was like, matter of fact, your guys is nuts. That's radiation all in it. Oh, don't even let me get started on squirt, you guys. The squirt that they do in the Tantra, it's metaverse water. I was like, you guys hear in Tantra about all these girls squirting to the roof and stuff? I was like, this is BS. It's a bunch of freaking metaverse water that they use. They literally use metaverse water. They can put a little gaming grid around the people, and basically, you know, there's moisture in the air, so you can just make water from it, different chemical compositions and stuff like that. Oh, and then, yeah, the chemistry refresher, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I'm here. I got a couple of head bashes and stuff like that, so maybe, you know, if you guys are ever watching this, you guys can change the setting and see me getting my head beat in. And I want the bitch in prison. Her her daughter, her son, and Mitchell all in prison. Her followers that go ahead and gang stalk in prison. Please help enact and pass this law.